Check 1, 2. Yo, yo, yo. Aloha, peace and blessings from the big island of Hawaii. Sending you all the love. It's your boy Burnell, Washburn. Welcome back to another episode of Wake the Love Up. It's a beautiful day to be alive on this gorgeous planet. Stoked to be alive. I'm noticing some random paw prints on the windshield of the bus that I live in. And I'm like, what are those? Because I don't think we have raccoons out here, but they look like raccoon prints. I don't know. That is a trip. I just noticed that as I was starting the intro. Anyway, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day wherever this episode finds you, wherever you are in the world. I don't believe there's accidents. I believe you clicked play on this for a reason, because something was meant to come through for you today. So strap in. We have a beautiful episode in store. I'm feeling so good. I feel like I got my mojo back. I feel like I'm just so in alignment. Everything is thriving. I have a lot of new stories that are really magical. A lot of breakthroughs, insights, wisdom, and all sorts of things coming through that I'm really excited to chat with you about today. So, first and foremost, thank you from the center of all my heart to all my Patreon supporters holding me down. And it's actually my 2-year Patreon anniversary coming up on 3/14, March 14th. I didn't even realize that I set my Patreon up on 314, which is a magical number. It's the pi number, infinity, infinite abundance. So today we're going to talk about abundance, prosperity, Christ consciousness, fun stories from Hawaii, plant medicines, prosperity, thriving, and creativity and business, and a lot of beautiful things. I don't really plan out these episodes. I just was like really inspired. I gotta click record and speak from the heart because I have a lot to share that I think is going to be quite profound and quite helpful in many ways. So thank you to the Patreon supporters. I love you guys so much. I calculated it and I was like, okay, I've had Patreon for 2 years. During that 2 years, I've generated and graciously received about $1,800 of support from a total of 18 people, so it's about $100 a person, and I'm really grateful for that. Like, that's really helped me put out this podcast. It's helped me create more music. It's helped me pay for the products and services and tools and equipment and all the things that I need to fulfill my mission. And I'm really, really grateful that you guys believe in me enough to monetarily contribute, whether it's $5 a month one time or whether you've been doing $20 a month ever since I started. It means a lot. And the financial blessings are a huge help because a lot of the things I do, cost money to put out in the world. Like this podcast isn't free to put online or whatever. And really just helps me serve at a higher level. And then beyond that, it's just like feels so grateful. Like when someone says, oh, like stoked on your podcast, or yeah, I believe in you, good luck with all your stuff, whatever. It's like words. Yeah, I really appreciate them so much. There's something a little extra special, there's something a little extra special when someone sends some money, especially because I know a lot of my listeners don't necessarily. Some of them do, but not all of them have like just crazy amounts of money yet. They're working towards that, evolving towards that. And for some of them, it might be like a little bit of a stretch to contribute every month. And it's just like, wow, thank you so much. That means a lot, and it helps a lot, and it helps more people and enriches more life. So keep it up. If you haven't checked it out, you can go to patreon.com/Burnell Washburn. There's also a link in the show notes always. And you can throw $5, $10, $20, whatever amount you want. And it really helps. So thank you for everyone supporting. I love you guys so much. I'm excited to celebrate this anniversary. I'm going to turn the mic up just a little bit so you might hear more background noise throughout the rest of this episode. I'm out in the jungle in Hawaii. There's a lot of birds and things and background noises, and it's been rainy. It's been so rainy. So I live on the background, or I live on the the background. I live on the rainy. I don't even know where that came from. I live on the rainy side of the Big Island, and maybe that's too much. Yeah, I think that's a good sweet spot right there. Okay. So I live on the rainy side of the Big Island in Puna, lower Puna, if you're familiar, and it's pretty rainy over here, and we're in winter time right now. It's about to be spring. But wow, I've never seen so much rain in my life the last couple of days. Like yesterday it rained all day, and then for like a few hours straight, it was a monsoon, like putting all monsoons I've ever seen to shame. I was just like, how is it even possible for this much water to come from the sky? And, for first, it's kind of frustrated me, and got fresh clothes out of the dryer, and they immediately got wet, and I was like, I just want it to be hot and sunny. And then I embraced it, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then I feel like, just so much abundance is coming in. So every time I've created a trigger, since it rains a lot out here, and you can create triggers with anything. So I created a trigger with the rain, that every time it starts raining, I visualize that as money, gold coins, dollars, clients. I visualize that as blessings coming into my life. So that's a really nice trigger that's really powerful, and it's helpful out here, especially because it rains a lot. And you can create triggers for yourself with anything. For another trigger I have is 3 birds. Anytime I see 3 birds together flying in the sky, especially if they're small, I'm like, ooh, 3 little birds. Don't worry about a thing. Everything's going to be totally just fine. And every time I see that, I just like take a deeper breath and relax, and then like a sigh of relief, just like, I'm protected. I'm held. I'm eternally held by Source. The entire universe is conspiring to help us thrive. Like, I'm divinely supported. Everything is orchestrated in such a magical way that I don't have to worry about anything, and I'm protected and safe and guided. And so you can create these little triggers for yourself with anything, and I've been doing that with rain out here. It's like every time it rains, cool, more money's coming in, more clients. And I've been doing these cool walking meditations where every step I take is a visualization / affirmation of something I'm calling in or aligning with or manifesting, however you want to word it. And like, for example, I've got the new album that I'm about to start selling on the pre-orders, and about to launch that in the next couple days, and I'm really excited. Probably the next podcast episode I'm going to go in depth about the album and what it means to me, and maybe show you some sneak previews of some songs. And it's been flowing, the inspiration has been flowing out here. It's been so fun. So there's a gecko just walked into my bus and crawled on my chukapa that I made out of bamboo and ayahuasca vines. Never seen one come inside here. Usually they're always crawling around the windows and stuff. These little homies are funny. Anywho, every step I take in these walking meditations, I'm visualizing and affirming another pre-order. Oh, another person bought my album. Oh, another person bought my album. Oh, another person just donated. Oh, another person just supported. Oh, yeah, and like, you can do that with anything. Oh, another coaching client. Oh, another coaching client with every step or every breath. There's infinite ways to do these types of practices, and really all of these different practices that I talk about are just different ways to bring you into the thought and the feeling of your wish fulfilled, of your dream manifested. So the best way to create your reality is to become it. You don't hope for it or want it or say, once I have received XYZ, then I'm going to feel this. Once I get all these coaching clients, I'm going to be so stoked. It's like, no, be so stoked right now as if it's already a done deal, and then you match that vibration, and through the laws of nature, that becomes your reality. So it's this gecko just keeps distracting me. I've never seen one crawl in here. It's so funny. Oh, I love Mother Nature. I'm recording an animal medicine album right now. It's just a devotional album all towards plants and animals and Mother Nature. So anytime an animal comes into my space, I'm just grateful. And even if they even if it's not the most desirable creature, I'm not making them get out. I'm respecting them. I'm appreciating them and seeing it as a blessing. Oh, they're coming here to bless me with their energy and bless up this space with the energy and add to the album. So, yeah. But, yeah, you can do all these different practices to align with the vibration, with the frequency that your desired reality is on. So, if you're thinking and feeling in alignment with your vision already manifested, then you're going to naturally it's going to come into fruition almost effortlessly, a lot of times effortlessly, just in this beautiful, synchronistic, divine flow. And that's, people like Joe Dispenza talk about it as brain-heart coherence, when your thoughts are in harmony and alignment with your emotions. So because it's one thing to like say intellectually like I am abundant, and then but you're feeling the opposite vibration. You're feeling in your body and your subconscious, you're feeling all scared about money and scared and not protected and not prosperous, but then you're saying it, so your brain is not in coherence with your heart. And the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart, like 5,000 times more. And so we got to get the emotions in alignment with the thoughts. It's one thing to think something, it's another thing to be really feeling it with all of your being. So these different practices are just tools to feel and think in alignment with what you want. And the more you can practice thinking and feeling in alignment with what you want, it's going to just be your reality. And it's worked profound magic in my life, just doing all these little things, whether it's the walking meditation or the triggers or the guided meditations and journaling and qigong and all these different things that I practice. They're all just cool tools to shift my frequency to match the reality that I'd like to be on. And if you think about it, thoughts are electric, feelings are magnetic. We are creating our reality, co-creating our reality in an electromagnetic field. So when we're putting out the electricity and the magnetism that's in harmony with our dream life, then boom, it's law of nature. It's impossible for it not to manifest. So I've shifted my frequency now to expand my wealth consciousness in a place where it would be extremely difficult for me to ever be broke again. Like, I would have to really try. And I don't even believe in the word broke. I think that's a silly word, but you get what I mean. So once you shift this frequency, it's like, I remember one of my first ayahuasca ceremonies, grandmother ayahuasca was like, making money is as easy as breathing air when you're in alignment. And that stuck with me, and I've really, I've been reading a lot of books about it and online courses and coaches and all the different tools to help me expand my wealth consciousness, because for years I was in deep scarcity and life was so hard. I was struggling to pay rent. I was getting evicted. I was getting cars repossessed. I was, there's periods of my life where I stole from stores just to feed myself and my daughter, and I was constantly having to borrow money from people and then being all stressed about how I was going to pay them back. And it was like, yeah, it was really a difficult period, and it was all self-created. It wasn't the universe testing me. It wasn't, the powers that be and the man in Babylon holding me down. It wasn't the industry or the market that I was in was oversaturated. None of that. All of that is just complete baloney. I don't think I've ever said the word baloney. It just sounded appropriate. Oh man, I'm not taking anything serious, especially today. I'm in a good mood. I'm feeling lighthearted and free. I've been having the best morning routines lately. I just remembered all the things that keep me really on a high frequency, and I've been not letting myself slip away from those. I've been really focused on, in a playful way, really focused on doing all my good habits and rituals and things that shift me into the highest frequency first thing in the morning, and then I just carry that momentum with me throughout the day, and then have a high vibe nightly routine. And I've talked about a lot of my routines and habits on different episodes, so if you haven't checked out some of those, I have episodes about morning routines and evening routines and success habits and all the different practices that, if you've been listening for a while, you've heard me talk about all the different things. So I'm not going to go deep into my routines right now, but I am going to sip some cacao real quick. Cacao, the best. This episode is brought to you by the spirit of cacao. May we live in our hearts with open hearts and compassion, connection with ourselves and all beings, realizing that we are one sacred family. Get yourself some ceremonial cacao. If you need the best sources, holla at me. I got some really high vibe, ethically sourced, sustainable good stuff. So I got you. I can link you up with the suppliers. I'm not even like sponsored by a cacao company or anything, and I just love the medicine, love sharing it, and I probably will get a cacao sponsor. I've been getting in touch with a lot of brothers and sisters and tribal connections down in South America and Ecuador and Peru and some in Central America and Guatemala, Costa Rica, and Brazil. So it's cool to connect with all these tribal people down there, and like I've been ordering stuff from them, and they'd be sending me handwritten letters and telling me that like how they prepared it, and the property that was on and the whole process that was going into creating it. And homie Juan had to get on a canoe and paddle up river for 3 days. I don't know if it was really a canoe, but it was probably a small motorboat going up river for 3 days to get to a city where they could mail me this stuff, and like hella blessed it in the ceremony. And it's like it's cool to support companies like that, and I think that's expanding my wealth consciousness and abundance frequency too. Is I'm supporting good causes, I'm giving generously, I'm circulating prosperity freely and fully in aligned ways, not just going to Amazon and Walmart because it's easy and convenient. Like I'll wait 3 extra weeks to receive my product because it's coming directly from a local craft maker or a tribe in Brazil that's really integral with how they operate, like I'll pay more for that. It's worth it to me, and then it comes back to me in 1,000-fold. So that's a nice little abundance tip. Anyway, I feel like I'm jumping around. I'm like a little bit just too stoked on life. Oh, life is good. What a blessing it is to exist and be in a human body on this beautiful sacred planet. Woo! All about it. And the better it gets, the better it gets. It's just going to keep thriving more and more. I am getting bit by a few mosquitoes for you guys. I turned off the fan so there was a little bit less background noise. Once I get my other mic back, or the adapter that I need for it, then I'll be able to record episodes with fans on and all this stuff because it doesn't pick up the background noise. I'll sound crispier, so that's coming soon. The next few episodes will probably be a little bit higher quality. I don't like to overthink things or wait until everything's perfect to take action. I just take messy, inspired action when it feels right. If I'm inspired to do something, I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter. I don't need to wait until I have every single duck in a row and every single perfect tool and perfect time and place. And I think so many of us do that. We're just waiting for all these conditions to line up perfectly so then we can finally like chase our dreams and do what we love. And it's like, just do what we have, or what we can with what we have. The universe will meet us the rest of the way. I've talked about that on the podcast before. Like, for a while, I didn't even have a microphone or an interface. I borrowed one from someone, made an album, sold that album digitally, made the money, bought a new interface, and then bought my own mic, gave homie his interface back, and gave him some money and stuff to show him appreciation. It was like, cool, that's like a resourceful way. I could have told a story that, I can't record music right now because I don't have this equipment, and once I make all this money and get all this equipment, then I'll be able to do what I love. And I just did what I could with what I had. I got resourceful. I made my moves, and it just is a win-win-win for everybody involved. So kind of bouncing around all over the place. So we're going to get back into a lot more wealth and prosperity consciousness stuff here in just a minute. Some simple tips and mindsets and reminders that can really help attract and align you with more prosperity and abundance and blessings all around. So we'll get into that in just a sec. I want to just give a couple quick updates on life in Hawaii. So, man, it's been really fun. I mean, if you listen to the last episode, I talked about how staph infection was one of the gnarliest things I've ever experienced, and I grew so much from that, and my laptop and phone broke, and I had no technology, and I just had to sit with the discomfort, and I just up-leveled so much from that. It was like the exact thing I needed. I thought I was going to come here and just get blissed out, sipping pineapples on the beach and looking at dolphins play and sea turtles, and yeah, like that's what I was more envisioning. I didn't envision I'm going to be crying in a bus while it's pouring rain, feeling the most like physical discomfort ever, and struggling and all that, like, and not having anything to distract myself. And it's interesting how some of the biggest challenges are often some of our biggest blessings. And now I'm on the other side of that. I feel healthier and stronger than ever, more aligned than ever. Like I said at the beginning, I got my mojo back. And big update, I am like totally free now. I've always been totally free. I have just realized my current living situation and current situation down here in Hawaii has freed up quite a bit due to the fact that I basically just bought my way out of work trade. So originally I was doing a work trade situation out here, and it was the chillest work trade situation you could imagine. Like 15 hours a week, barely anything. Mostly choosing my own hours type thing. Mostly doing pretty easy work with really high vibe people. I just didn't want to do it because I was like, I just want to make art all the time. Like, I just can't stop making beats and writing raps. And I'm working on all these events. Like, we have these huge retreats and festivals and concerts coming up and workshops and online courses and mastermind. Like, just the homie Trevor and I, aka T Mental, we've been just going hard. Like, we've been so inspired and creative and bringing so much magic into the world that it's like almost like every time we had to go work on, even if it was chill work, it was like, that's not my highest joy right now. And the best thing that we could do to serve the whole collective is be blissed out. Like, your joy is a public service. You being aligned with great spirit, with yourself, with what you want to be doing in this world, that's a public service. We don't need a bunch of people to be drone workers who are dissatisfied with their lives. We need people that are lit up, that are turned on, that are in love with life, doing what they love, sharing their unique gifts, being in their unique power, So, and we've obviously known that, so every time we had to work, it was like, and like, we're doing it because we want to be in integrity with our agreement down here, and they've been really blessing us, we get to use the hot springs and the showers and the kitchen and eat healthy food off the land, and, they're blessing us with all the comforts that we need to live, and, and on top of that, just amazing people that we love dearly and we want to help out with this whole vision on this property, growing all these sacred medicines and hosting ceremonies and, all the beautiful things that are going on here. It's like we want to help out with that. We just like, we can do more than, building a fence, physical labor to keep the wild boars from ruining all the turmeric and kale and, like, anyone can do, like, we can easily hire someone to do that. So I the whole time was thinking, man, it would be more aligned if we could just be like doing what we love, generating income from our unique gifts, and then we could delegate that work to someone else who'd be happy to come in and do it for 15 or 20 bucks an hour, who needs that money and loves doing that and whatever, and they're more skilled and probably more effective at their work than us. So that was kind of what we were thinking about and daydreaming and visualizing it, and just like everything else, we spoke it into existence just by saying, this would be so cool, if we could just do this, and oh man, that would be awesome, and not being attached to it, just, and not being in like a state of like, oh, we're not going to be happy until that happens type thing. Just more so like, hey, this would be super aligned if this is how things were down here. That would be like even more amazing than it already is. So long story short, worked out a deal with them, with the landowners here, and they're our good friends. We love them so much, and to where we're just like, can we just not work and just pay you to be here and use all these facilities and have our own living situation, whatever, And it's kind of like I got my own living situation because I'm in a bus out in the jungle that's kind of far from the rest of the retreat center, and I still have electricity running all the way out here, like some giant extension cord, and like it's a vibe, solar power and all. It's pretty cool. So I want to be here. I just didn't want to be working necessarily, and that was kind of causing some tension. Like there's some slightly weird vibes because I could tell they weren't really stoked on like how much I was contributing on the work, and some other people here are really hard workers, and there's a very there's only a small handful of people here, so they really needed us to do more, and we're just like, this is just not feeling right. So long story short, we worked out this deal. We don't have to work anymore. We're free. We're here for like 6 more weeks, and we just get to create and play and have fun. And yeah, it's an expense, but it was like felt like I'm buying my freedom, and it's more so like I'm in, and that's not even the right phrase. That doesn't feel aligned. As it came out, I was like, I'm buying. You don't have to buy your freedom. You're already free. You just claim it. But in this sense, I've invested in clear space for me to create and serve my gifts, and really I feel like it's like I'm birthing an album into the world, and I'm birthing these new events into the world, and I'm birthing online courses into the world, and all of that's like, it's like I'm pregnant right now. And it might sound silly for a dude to say. I'm like pregnant with these beautiful babies, and I want to nurture them. A pregnant woman doesn't like, well, sometimes they do, but the best alignment for pregnancy is usually like just putting the baby first, and yourself first, and taking care of what you need so you can nurture this life that you're bringing into the world. Like being all stressed and working all hard, that's not like going to be the best thing for you or the baby. So I'm kind of doing that with my album and these courses and all the things that we're creating and all these events. I'm like, okay, let me nurture these babies to the fullest of my capacity and really show up for them, so I can give them the love and care and attention that they need to go on, because they're going to be living entities in the world that go on to do lots of blessings, and I want to give them the best opportunity, just like a woman wants to eat the healthiest she can, and get the proper rest and all this nutrition and everything she needs to give this baby the best chance. So when it comes into the world, it's like already, it's got the best chance it can to go thrive and do good. And I just feel, it's 11:11 a.m. right now. Today is such a good day. It's like I woke up pretty early today, and I was just in such a good mood, and did some qigong and some journaling, and worked with some crystals and some essential oils, and did some reading, and had a nice little meditation. And then when I made my cacao, and I'm like sprouting some walnuts and some pumpkin seeds, and made some beautiful tea that I got from Natural Law Apothecary. Shout out Natural Law, the homies back in Utah. They sent me out some good tea. It's a tea blend that I created called Divinity. It's got like raspberry leaf and rhodiola and ashwagandha and ginseng and burdock and dandelion, and just like all these amazing, super healing, super nutritious herbs and adaptogens that, get you stoked. Between that and the cacao, I'm just like, woo! Feeling great today, and got amazing sleep last night, and a lot of it's my intention. I set the intention last night. And I've been doing this every night. Like, I'm gonna sleep amazing tonight, and tomorrow's gonna be the best day ever. I'm just gonna wake up blissed out in a flow state and just do all the good things that I know to thrive and show up as the best version of myself. So now the next 6 weeks that I'm here, I'm just gonna go so hard on creating all these things, finishing this album, organizing and planning these events, being super creative and inspired, and being of service to the world, using my gifts, not being in service of like just doing some manual labor because I have a physically capable body, but just like, I got a beautiful, strong, healthy body, but I've also got this beautiful, strong, healthy heart and mind and spirit that wants to create magic in the world, and it's just this strong urge that's bursting out of me. So grateful that, and I already was, spending lots of time doing that. Now it's just like there's not any type of weird vibes around it. It's like I'm totally free to do that because I'm paying to be here, and that feels really good. Like it's a nice Pono situation where it's just like a win-win-win for everybody, and I'm stoked. So yeah, anyway, the other day this episode feels like so bounced around because I'm like, I got a lot to say. I don't want to talk your ear off for like 3 hours. I was intending on making this a quicker episode, so who cares if it's quick or not? I just like chatting, and I feel chatty today. So man, I really love my podcast listeners. You guys are so cool that I feel like so comfortable to just be myself and connect with you guys. And I've been beautiful people from all around the world have been reaching out to me from this podcast and saying it's really helping them and inspiring them and uplifting them, and most of all just like reminding them. A lot of it's stuff you already know. It's just like a nice reminder, hearing this perspective from another being, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. You've probably heard a lot of other people that you resonate with saying very similar things, and you know it to be true within your body and your being. So you hear another brother on the path saying similar things, and you're like, yeah, that's the vibe. Okay. So for a lot of us, it's just reminders and then there might be little brand new things that you never thought of before. And then obviously some unique stories like I'm about to tell. So the other day, I rode in the back of a pickup truck. The back of a pickup truck. I don't know why that's like a tongue twister. The back of the pickup. The back of the pickup truck. All the way across the island. So the big island is huge. It's bigger than all the other Hawaiian islands put together times 2. And they say like small world, big island. It's kind of spread out. So it's like a 2-hour, especially in homie's little truck, like maybe 2.5-hour drive all the way to the other side of this island, to this beach that we're going to. And like I mentioned earlier, the other side of the island is all sunny and nice, and so we wanted to kind of like get out of the rain vibes and go have a beach day and do some snorkeling and stuff like that. And I still couldn't really swim in the ocean because I was recommended not. Well, I could have, but I chose not to. Because I was based on recommendations from health practitioners about my staph infection, even though it feels fully healed now. And they're just like, yeah, maybe wait just slightly longer before you swim in the ocean and like fully submerge for a long period of time. But I went and chilled and meditated on the beach and watched the sunset on the Pacific Ocean. That's a vibe. So had a great time. But anyway, I rode in the back of a pickup truck all the way there, and it's like my new favorite way to meditate. Riding in the back of a pickup truck out here is it's so magical. I'm like getting into the most deepest meditations ever, and like our intention going out there was to take like a pretty fat microdose of psilocybin and like just have a blissed out beach day. And what was interesting is I didn't even take the mushrooms, and I had like a full-on journey on the way there. Like it was like almost more profound than like any plant medicine experience I've ever had. And all these plant spirits are always with me, so I can tap into them when whether I'm drinking ayahuasca or not or whatever. I can tap into that energy really easily. I've wired those neural pathways, and that's just kind of my normal state of being, and they stay with you. So I had like a full-blown trip on the way there where I was getting profound insights and downloads and visions and all these just magical deep meditations, and I'm just sending so much love to like every car that we pass and on the land. And it was just like I was blissed out, and I hadn't even eaten the mushrooms yet. And then I ate a little bit, just a small amount, once we got to the beach area, and it almost like sobered me up. It was like I felt like more profound experiences before I took them than I did after. So that was interesting. And then on the way back, it was dark and it was cold and it was rainy, and just like interesting to be like going 60 miles an hour up on the, driving over the mountain to get back to Puna side. And while it's raining, windy, and freezing, like just being in the back of this truck, but like still blissed out. Like it was such a interesting experience that I'll probably never forget. And there were so many parts of it that felt like a dream. And I've been lucid dreaming so much, like almost every night lately. And I like the line between the waking dream and the sleeping dream keeps blurring. And there's been times during my waking hours where I'm like really convinced that I'm in a dream, and really like everything is a dream. So yeah, I am, but it's like it feels like this. I'm like, whoa, like, am I dreaming right now? This feels so strange. It feels such like a dream. So I'm out here living the dream. It's really fun. On our journey, we met this really cool Hawaiian craft maker, this old dude that like makes all this amazing stuff out of wood, magical wood that grows on his property. He had a few different types of wood. They're all beautiful, and he's also making sandalwood, like powder and cones and stuff like that. So we like pulled over on the side of the road, and he was like buddies with our buddy who was taking us. It was cool to it's just so cool to meet all these different people on the island and really connect with cultural practitioners and people who are carrying the Aloha spirit and the history of these islands and carrying the Ho'oponopono and living in Aloha with the Aina, and they just it's cool to meet all these people that I wouldn't meet back in Utah. And everyone that's come and stayed at this retreat center, every now and then we have a guest that comes through and stays for a week or two or whatever, and they've all just like become like soul tribe family. Like we just connect with them so deeply and end up everyone has changed our lives. It's because we're so in the flow, and there's just unlimited synchronicities. Christ consciousness has been a huge thing out here. Like everything keeps leading back to Christ consciousness, and I had already been like tapping into the archetype of Christ consciousness energy before I came out here, and I have for years, but it got deeper before I came out here, and then since I came out here, it's like I can't ignore the amount of synchronicities that have to do with Christ consciousness. It's like every book that someone leaves out or recommends to me ends up talking about it. I'll be driving down the street and just see random signs. I was like in the random bathroom the other day at a gas station, and I happened to go in the women's bathroom because the men's was being used, and I was needed to go, so went in there, and then just the door talks. It's like Christ loves you and blah, and goes off about Christ consciousness. Some note, like handwritten note on the door, and then like I walk out 2 minutes later, I see like a billboard or something like that, and like just almost every conversation I have with someone ends up mentioning something to do with Christ. And I go into this grocery store the other day called Abundant Life. I can't remember if I told this story on the last episode, but it's our favorite grocery store out here, and they're like really promoting the abundance frequency and just like health and wellness. And the lady that's the manager is like really knowledgeable and really cool. And I just happened to like briefly, as I'm walking out, I was like, "Oh, good to see you. How you been?" And she's like, "I'm so blessed, so blessed. And she just starts going off. She's like, "Yeah, I got blah blah blah, like cancer and da da da, and they told me I was gonna die. And I'll tell you, Christ is the real deal. Christ consciousness is the real thing, and it can heal you, da da da. And I completely healed myself, and I never needed any doctors or treatments or whatever, da da da. And I'm just so blessed every day that I'm alive now, and that I overcame that, because I could have died, but I, had the power of faith in Christ." And I was like, interesting. Okay, that's magical. And then I was mentioning the violet flame on the last episode. That's been huge out here, and the violet flame ties a lot to Christ consciousness. And the violet flame and the threefold flame are basically just flames that exist that are almost like their own conscious beings that can transmute anything and dissolve anything that's not in harmony, and they can dislodge any stuck energy. And if you visualize yourself more as this violet flame walking around rather than this body walking around, and life gets interesting. So that's how I healed staph infection. I didn't go to get any antibiotics or whatever. I just ate super healthy, no sugar, didn't feed it with anything that was going to make it worse, and then just did these violet flame visualizations and meditations. And then also the wife of the man who like was really putting us onto the violet flame, she gave me this magic heal. She's this cool woman from Germany. And she gave me this cool magic healing spray that had like this sacred geocode on it that was channeled, that like is supposed to, it looks like a cell when it's regenerating or something like that. And it's just basically like Himalayan salt and purified water in this little thing with sacred geo on it. And I had so much faith in that, I sprayed that on my owie. And like within like 2 days it got better. It was so crazy. So Yeah, between that and the violet flame, like we have the ability to heal ourselves, and you can use whatever modality you want. You can heal anything without medicine. Just let food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be thy food, like Hippocrates said, however many thousands of years ago. And so, like, your nutrition and your lifestyle is huge, but also, like, the biggest thing, and also the biggest thing is consciousness, your mindset, your frequency, your thoughts, your emotions, what you're visualizing, what you're speaking into existence. As every time I spoke it into existence, oh, I'm feeling so weak right now. Oh, this sucks. Why does this suck so bad? Oh my God, why am I in so much pain? Every time I spoke that, it was just bringing the frequency that I didn't want. And then when I started speaking of, like, activate the violet flame, I have the power to heal myself, I'm thriving, I started changing my story, and that changed the whole vibe up too. So every time I started seeing people, instead of like complaining, it's like I wanted compassion, and I didn't want them to like be mad at me for not working as much. So I was just like, oh yeah, I'm having a hard time, this really sucks. And then I started shifting that vibe, and every time I saw people and they asked me how it was doing, I was like, oh, it's getting better every day. Yeah, like I think I'm almost healed. Yeah, pretty much healed now. And I started saying that way before I was actually really feeling it, but I got myself to feel it through saying it and through being it. And then once I was really feeling it, my reality became that I was healed. And then I started telling the story that, like, oh my God, this is gonna make me stronger than ever, since I just like went on a cleanse and rested a lot and spiritually up leveled so much that, like, oh my God, I'm gonna come out of this stronger and healthier and happier than I've ever been in my whole life. And that's truly how I feel now. And now I have the rest of my time here to be creative, and I'm going to be working a lot with Wachuma, the San Pedro cactus, grandfather medicine. That's one of my favorites. So I have a lot of deep intentions to work with that medicine, and I'll definitely be updating you. I've only worked with it a few times, and it's been really profound. So I'm really excited to go deeper with that. I'll probably be working with ayahuasca a couple more times while I'm out here. And we are about to do some very profound work. I don't know if I can even talk about it. I think it's sacred, so I'm not going to mention this next thing that we're doing. But just out of respect, nothing that we're doing here is like illegal or anything. It's just like out of like reverence and respect to the plants and the shamans and everyone involved. So I'm not going to mention super details on a lot of things, but there's some cool projects happening around here that I'm really grateful to be a part of. And we've been doing a lot of cool music stuff. So the other day, my homie from California just happened to be in town for a few days. And I've gone on tour with him before. He came on tour when I went on tour with Scarab from Living Legends, and my homie J. Ross, who's like an amazing reggae/hip-hop artist from NorCal. And this dude is like the dopest, one of the most like skilled musicians that I've ever met. His timing, his ability to, he can listen to any song and like play it by ear, and it's just really dope. So, and he's a good dude, and I love connecting with him about archangels and Lumerians and crystals, and we're into it's a lot of similar stuff. So, and he's just a humble, sweet dude. So I was like, oh, you're on the Big Island, dude, let's kick it. Come over, maybe we can lay down some music or something. I'm working on an album right now. Like, that'd be sick if you like roll by. And he's like, oh yeah, dude, I'm way down. I got my flute with me. So the other night, he came through, pulled up in the jungle next to my bus, and I had like right as he was getting here, I just happened to be making this cool beat, and it was just drums and bass, and we caught a vibe, kicked it, smoked one up, catching up, and I start playing the beat, and he's like, oh, this is cool. And I was like, yeah, dude, this would be sick if you like want to lay down some flute on this at some point. And he's just like, yeah, dude, I'll go grab my flute. And he goes out and grabs it out of his van, brings it in, and just goes. I just hit record, and he just played like 20 minutes straight of like the illest flute ever, and gave me all these samples. So you'll probably hear that at some point. It might end up on the Animal Medicine album, or it might just be a single, or it might just be an instrumental I release. And I've also been like starting to work on some like ecstatic dance music, because I want to get into DJing ecstatic dance, and I want a lot of the stuff that I DJ to be my own creations. I love playing other people's music and just mixing it, but I would feel really awesome to DJ like my own instrumentals, because I'm always on stage rapping and it's on top of my own instrumentals, but I've never like just DJing my beats. I've only done that once, and it was like when I was making more trap stuff, and it was at a banger trap show, and that was fun. DJing is a vibe. It's super cool. But now I'm like feeling really aligned with this ecstatic dance, because I love going to ecstatic dance. It's so healing and up leveling and connecting and fun, and I'm feeling pretty called to start learning. So one of the dudes out here that is really good ecstatic dance DJ, there's a couple of them actually, and they're gonna train me on some things, and I'm probably gonna start DJing. So I'm kind of putting together some cool ecstatic dance type tracks, like shamanic, medicine, psychedelic, spiritual, organic, high vibe dance jams that can help us move the issues out of our tissues and shake the tension and have some fun. So that's something to look forward to. And there's just so much flowing and bubbling out here, so I could go on for days. And I'm really excited to see what the next 5.5, 6 weeks brings, and then I'm so stoked to go back and see my daughter. This is by far the longest I've ever been away from her. Before I came here, I'd never been away from her for more than like 5 days since she's been born, and even that was like 5 days. Oh my god, it's been forever. So I haven't seen her in like a month and a half. It's like wild. I FaceTime her like almost every day, so that's a huge blessing. But I cannot wait to go back to Utah, kick it with her, go in the mountains. It'll be springtime. Oh, it's going to be so nice. And then we're immediately going to jump into hosting our meditation and sound healing workshops. And we got a bunch of healing sessions. And we're going to have this big album release party / welcome home show. And some cacao ceremonies for Trevor's birthday. Like then we got all these retreats. And we're starting a new music, like bi-weekly music workshop / cipher / potluck thing that's going to be really cool. And just like our businesses are taking off, and we have so much opportunity to just serve at a higher level. And it's like as soon as you shift your wealth consciousness, like ideas to make money and that are in alignment, that are beneficial to all, just like flow so easily. It's like we have opportunities now to make 20 grand easier with less effort than it used to take me to make $20, so that's how we can shift to, and it's going to get to a level where I can generate 20 million faster than I used to generate $200, like that's for the billionaires. That's how it is. You make one little business deal, one little move, and it's like, boom, millions of dollars come in, and it helped everyone involved. And you didn't even have to really do much. You're like on vacation while it's happening. So like that's the level we can tap into, and we all deserve it. Abundance is our birthright. Abundance is our birthright. We create abundance from an infinite source. Money does not come from other people, it comes through other people. So the more we allow ourselves to freely give and receive and be in the circulation, be in the flow, we can just tap into unlimited wealth consciousness, where all our needs are always met and our desires are met. And I believe that our desires are really from source. True heartfelt desires were planted in us from source energy to experience itself and thrive and be a blessing, and we deserve to realize those and align with those at the highest levels with no shame, with no guilt. It's like when you're doing a benevolent win-win-win thing, it would be a disservice for us not to be super prosperous. If you're you're obviously a good person if you're listening to this podcast, and you want to do good in the world, and you want to be creative and share your gifts and help people, and you deserve to do that. And it would be a disservice for you not to do that. For you to stay broke or stay struggling working some job you don't like, that's not the best way for you to serve. The best way for you to serve is to just be like thriving with so much abundance that you can give freely and support others and Yeah, so the more generous I've been, the more I've been circulating, the more keeps coming back to me. I have an affirmation that says, every dollar I circulate comes back multiplied. So every time I pull out I don't say the word spend anymore. And if I do, I catch myself really quickly. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not spending money. I'm circulating prosperity to good companies who are providing nutrition, and I'm investing in my health, which enables me to be more energized, more clear, and function at a higher level to where now I can generate even more money. So if I go spend $100 on some healthy nutrition, oh cool, now I have the energy and the sustenance to go make $10,000, and I can have extra share. And yeah, it's an investment, and it's a circulating, and it's also blessing all the good companies that I'm supporting so they can go do more good things in the world. I know all the companies that I support are donating money to good causes and paying extra for organic and paying extra for ethically fair traded things, so it's like, yeah, being in that divine harmonic flow where like there's infinite amounts of abundance in the universe. Look at the stars in the night sky. Look at the leaves on the trees. Look at the grains of sand. Observe nature. See how abundant it is. Nature doesn't hoard anything. Nature doesn't worry about how much it has of anything. An apple tree doesn't look at another apple tree and say, oh, that apple tree is growing more apples than me, so I'm not worthy and I should just stop producing apples and da-da-da. It's like everything in nature takes as much sunlight and water as it possibly can, and it gives as much back as it possibly can, and it gives its entire being back if you really think about it. And we all do, really, because it's all borrowed energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed, it only changes form. So everything in the material plane, our physical bodies, our tools, our equipment, our money, everything, this is all just borrowed energy from this one infinite source that we are. It's not something outside of us like deciding whether we can have it or not. It's us. We can block ourselves off from ourselves, or we can allow ourselves to fully receive ourselves, and yeah, if we just like really observe nature, we see how abundant everything is, and we can allow ourselves to fully give, fully receive. And the more we allow ourselves, a tree allows itself to receive all the water, all the sunlight, and then it provides as much fruit as it can, and it doesn't look at any other trees and compare, and through the mycelium network and the balance of nature, if one tree is getting more nourishment than the other, the fungi, the mycelium, will bring those nutrients over to the other tree, and everyone can thrive in harmony because none of them are hoarding. There's not a tree saying, oh, I'm going to take up all the sunlight today so you guys can't have any. It's like it grows tall, gets as much sun as it can, and it wants all the other trees around it to do the same. So yeah, wealth consciousness. A couple recommendations I have before we wrap up this episode are to read a book called The Illusion of Money by Kyle Cease. That book I can't recommend enough. It's helped me a lot. The Abundance Codes by Reagan Hillier and Juan Pablo Barahona. It's got some like physical activation, and that's way more to do than just money. It's abundance in all areas of life, because there's some people that are abundant in money because they have some good job or whatever. They inherited a bunch, or they feel like abundant with money, but then they feel a scarcity mindset when it comes to health, or a scarcity mindset when it comes to relationships, or a scarcity mindset when it comes to time. So when you realize that you're this eternal being that's eternally held by source, and who you truly are can never die and it can never be hurt, and this is all just a dream, then you don't have a scarcity mindset with any of those things. You're like, I got plenty of time, I have plenty of money, I don't need to rush, I don't need to hurry, I don't need to hoard, I don't need to be scared, I don't need to steal, I don't need to lie, I don't need to take, I can just give freely and enjoy the flow and allow all the blessings to keep unfolding. So another cool book, audio book that I listened to on YouTube like 20 times is called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's like 7 or 8 hours. I downloaded it on my phone back when my phone was working, and I just kept listening over and over again, and I got more and more out of it, and I'm going to go listen to it again, because anything worth listening to or reading is worth re-listening to or rereading, and you always get more out of it the second, third, fourth, 10th time, especially as you evolve as a being. Like, things just hit you deeper and make more sense to you, or you have like the first time you're just like, taking it in. The second time you're like absorbing it a little deeper, and then you're wiring it in, and the more you work with it, it embeds and becomes your way of being and becomes your whole consciousness. So I've read a lot of books, a lot of podcasts, a lot of coaches, a lot of courses, and then I keep doing the work. I don't just coast when things are going well. Okay, I can stop doing the work now. It's like, all right, I got to a really good gratitude frequency. I'm just going to stop writing my gratitude journal. It's like, no, it's a practice every day. And the more I do it, it wires in these neural pathways and just keeps me on that vibe. So, we deserve infinite abundance. We deserve to do what we love and make really good money, and it's all here for us to claim. It's not something that we need to be worthy of. We are collectively collapsing those old paradigms of like the punishment and reward systems, and all right, if I'm good and I do these, if I'm a good boy and I do what everyone else wants me to do, then I'm worthy of receiving love. It's like we're getting out of that and realizing that we've always been worthy, and there's nothing that we could do or say, or anyone could do or say, that could make us unworthy. Like I say in one of my songs that I'm working on, I say nothing's wrong, we just get to make right more right. And that's what Ho'oponopono is all about. The true meaning of Ho'oponopono is just thank you and I love you, and the opportunity to make what is right more right. It's not about forgiveness and saying you're sorry. People say, oh, I love you, thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. That's been mis-westernized. It's I'm sorry and please forgive me are not even really a part of it at all. Ho'oponopono is really thank you and I love you, and the opportunity to make what is right more right, so we can live more righteous, and we can, there's nothing wrong. This whole entire universe is divinely perfect, and there's always opportunities, no matter who we are or what we're doing, there's always opportunities for us to be in more alignment and to serve more and to live aloha, live in integrity, and be the best versions of ourselves. And anything that's going well has opportunity to go even better, so there's nothing that we need to fix or change, or there's nothing wrong in the whole universe, and I really operate from that. I'm so happy that I got out of that old scarcity mindset where I was just always worried and always stressing, and I have a bill coming up and I don't have the funds in my account, so I immediately go into fight or flight in my nervous system and just focus on all the problems, and then I just created so much more of that, and life was so hard, and I was just doing it to myself for so many years. And then I've tapped out of that, where it's like now a bill comes up or a large amount of money is required to do something I want to do, and I don't have that amount. Cool, this is going to be an exciting up-leveling journey to get there, and I'm excited to watch how this unfolds. I'm excited, and I still take the inspired action and embody that frequency, but from a place of just knowing and trust that whatever's meant to be will be meant to be. And if I come up with the money, cool, awesome, that was meant to be. If not, for some reason, okay, that just wasn't meant to be at that time. So I really live my life in a place of trust and just knowing that I'm always provided for, I'm always taken care of, everything is working out for the highest good, and I can just relax and be playful and creative and aligned and just know that everything's always well. So blessed. I have so much more I want to share. Stories from Hawaii, more abundance consciousness, more Christ consciousness, more about the violet flame, more about the plant medicines, all these things. And I'm feeling called to save those for the next episode. So I love you so much. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to connect, and thank you to everyone who's been supporting, listening to these. If you got anything out of this episode at all, it would mean the world if you screenshot it, post it on your story, and tag me. That's huge. It really helps I'm not doing paid advertising or anything. It's all word of mouth, and we keep growing every month. So thank you to everyone listening and sharing. Text the link to your homies. Huge thank you to Patreon supporters. And shout out to our sponsor, Organifi, bringing the highest vibe organic nutrition that's been sustaining me so well out here. I've been sipping the red juice, the green juice, the gold juice, the protein powder, making bomb smoothies, feeling strong, feeling healthy. So grateful for Organifi. It's a high integral company, sustainably sourced, all the best ingredients, and everything they make tastes like straight up delicious. You know, there's a lot of healthy companies out there that don't taste anywhere near as good as this. So get yourself some Organifi. Remember, you're not spending money. It's not an expense. It's an investment. You're circulating money towards a good company that does good in the world, and you're investing in health and wellness in your body so you can go create more abundance and more blessings for all. So Organifi.com. Use promo code Burnell, all uppercase, BURNELL. Also a link in the show notes. Get yourself a discount using that code. Stock up, and just by supporting them, you also support this podcast because I make a little commission off that. And I think I get like 10% of whatever your order is. So you go spend $100 on some Organifi. That's $10 that helps this podcast grow and helps me do more good in the world. So stock up on some Organifi and stop by the Patreon if you feel called to support. That would mean the world to me. It's about to be my Patreon anniversary, and I'm just like really, really stoked and grateful for that. So all the goodness is continuing to expand. All the blessings are unfolding. We're so blessed to be alive and exist in these bodies on this planet. I love you with all my heart. Thank you for listening. Keep spreading the good vibes. Keep living the aloha. I'll see you soon on another episode. I'm sending you all the love to your beautiful heart. Thank you for being you. Have a blessed rest of your day, and we'll chat soon. Much love.